All right, so today we're going deep on a book that's, well, honestly, it's more of an experience than just a typical read.
Yeah, definitely Autobiography of a Yogi.
Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa
A
Yogananda.
life changer for many people.
Mm,
It's really like a portal into some deeper spiritual realities.
absolutely. And, we're not just talking about some, dusty old classic here. This is a book that's resonated with, like, Steve Jobs,
Yeah.
George Harrison, and just tons of people looking for a richer understanding of life.
Really across the board with this one, yeah.
And so our deep dive today, our mission is to unlock some of the secrets of this book for you, the listener.
Right.
We're going to explore the stories of yogis who seem to, like, defy the ordinary.
Yeah.
We'll get into the science of Kriya Yoga, and really, most importantly, we want to see how all this wisdom can actually make your life better today.
I like it. A great mission to start with. And, understand its impact. I think we have to look at the early life of the author himself, Yogananda. Born Lukunda Lal Ghosh. Even as a child, he was really drawn to meditation and mystical experiences.
Yeah, and there's this great story from his childhood. It's often called the banana miracle that I think really illustrates this early connection to something bigger than himself.
The banana miracle, I love that one.
So as a young boy,
Yeah.
he had this incredible faith in the power of prayer. And one day he asks his mom for, another serving of bananas.
Of course, who doesn't want more bananas as a kid?
Right, and she says, no, you've had enough. And young Mukunda goes to his little meditation corner and prays with this laser focus. And moments later, his mom comes back with more bananas.
That's wild.
It's like, what?
It's interesting to think about that, not just as like, a kid getting a snack, but as this potent example of focused intention. Something that we tend to lose as we grow up.
I know, it's so true.
The power of a really concentrated mind.
Yeah, and it seems like these early experiences really fueled his desire to find a true spiritual teacher.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Which, brings us to the whole idea of the guru.
The guru.
Yeah, this concept that's so central to his journey and to so many spiritual traditions.
Absolutely. The guru is seen as that essential guide.
Yeah.
Someone who's already walked the path and can offer wisdom and support to those who are seeking.
Right, and Yogananda's early life was really marked by this search for that guiding light.
Yeah, and then he meets Swami Yukteswar.
And it's like this instant recognition, right?
Yeah, almost magical, their first encounter, like a deep resonance that Yogananda describes so vividly.
Yeah, he just knew, this is my guru.
And that kind of instant knowing is something you see a lot in spiritual stories. It suggests this bond that goes beyond the everyday, a connection at a deeper level.
So for you listening, if you're on your own spiritual path, it's kind of a reminder that when that inner longing is strong, the right guidance often appears in unexpected ways.
When you're ready, the teacher appears.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so let's get into some of the more mind-bending parts of the book, because it's filled with stories that really push the boundaries of what we normally consider possible. Particularly these accounts of miracles and yogis with these seemingly supernatural abilities.
It's interesting because he doesn't present these as myths or, just made up stories, but as actual encounters that he or people he trusted had.
Yeah.
He's introducing us to individuals who seem to be operating by a different set of rules than we typically acknowledge.
I mean, like, take, for example, the story of the saint who never eats.
Oh, wow, yeah.
He describes meeting women who had apparently lived for decades without consuming any food.
It's wild, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes you really question everything you think you know about the human body.
Definitely challenges our typical scientific understanding of biology and nutrition, for sure.
Yeah. Then there's the just absolutely wild story of Lahiri Mahasai's initiation by this mysterious figure, Babaji.
Oh, yes.
This is where it gets really out there. Babaji, materializes an entire palace out of thin air to teach Lahiri Mahasaya a lesson about non-attachment.
It sounds like something out of a fantasy novel.
It really does. But, Yogananda presents these stories as, integral to his understanding of the potential that exists beyond our normal perception.
He affirms their significance in this larger context of spiritual evolution.
And the underlying principle that seems to connect all these extraordinary feats is this idea that everything at its core is energy.
Right.
And that by mastering your own consciousness, you can tap into and influence this energy in ways that seem miraculous to us.
That's a really core idea in a lot of Eastern spiritual philosophies.
Yeah.
The idea that limitations are often self-imposed, rooted in the limited scope of our awareness.
So it's not that the laws of physics are wrong, it's that our understanding is limited.
Exactly. By going deeper into the nature of consciousness, we can transcend those perceived limitations.
And this brings us to the importance of meditation.
Yes.
The book presents meditation not just as a way to relax, but as this gateway to higher consciousness.
Right. It's a way to cultivate a state of profound inner stillness and focused awareness.
It's like training your mind to see beyond the surface of things.
To access those subtler dimensions of consciousness that we were just talking about.
And at the heart of his teachings is this technique of Kriya Yoga,
Yeah.
which he describes as this really powerful and direct path to enlightenment.
The highway to enlightenment.
Yeah, and what's really fascinating about Kriya Yoga is this emphasis on the connection between breath and consciousness.
That's a key point.
It involves these very specific techniques for controlling your breath that are said to directly influence and elevate your state of awareness.
It's almost like tuning an instrument.
Yeah.
Your breath is the dial,
Yeah.
and your consciousness is the frequency you're trying to hit.
I like that.
Kriya Yoga gives you the tools to fine-tune that dial for a higher resonance.
He explains that our breath and our mind are totally intertwined.
Absolutely. When our breath is erratic and shallow, our minds tend to be all over the place.
Right. But through the practice of Kriya Yoga, with its focus on breath regulation, the breath slows down, and then the thoughts and the mind start to quiet down.
Makes those deeper states of meditation more accessible.
And the claims about its effectiveness are pretty amazing.
Okay.
The book suggests that just 1 year of sincerely practicing Kriya Yoga can give you the same spiritual growth as a lifetime of other practices.
A bold statement.
It really is.
It really highlights the idea that Kriya Yoga, as he presents it, is not just physical exercise, but a technology for accelerating your spiritual evolution.
A precise science.
Yeah, and a science that he felt he was meant to bring to the West.
Which leads us to his journey to America.
Yeah.
He wasn't content to just keep these teachings in India. He really becomes this spiritual revolutionary, bringing these ideas to a whole new audience.
A real pioneer.
Exactly. And he arrives in America in 1920 at a time when yoga and meditation were barely known in the West.
Well, he was a totally different landscape back then.
And he draws these huge crowds to his lectures and classes.
That's amazing.
Makes you think there was this real hunger for something more.
Yeah, maybe a yearning that wasn't being met by existing traditions.
And it's incredible to think about the people he met during this time. He met Mahatma Gandhi, and Therese Norman, a Catholic mystic known for her incredible experiences.
Really highlights how spiritual seeking connects people across different traditions and backgrounds.
And then there's this really extraordinary and for many, I think, challenging account in the book.
Yeah.
His connection with his guru, Sri Yukteswar, after Sri Yukteswar's death.
This is a powerful one.
Yeah. The book describes Sri Yukteswar appearing to Yogananda not as like a ghost, but in a fully formed light body.
Okay.
And during this encounter, Sri Yukteswar shares these insights into the different realms of existence beyond our physical world.
Really pushes the boundaries of what we typically consider reality.
It does, but it speaks to this idea that consciousness continues beyond physical death.
Which a lot of spiritual traditions talk about.
Yeah, and it really challenges those scientific views that see death as just the end of everything.
Definitely makes you think.
So as we go through all these amazing stories, the question for you listening is how can we apply these teachings to our own lives?
Right, because it can seem pretty abstract.
It can, and the book actually offers some really practical advice.
Right.
One simple thing is incorporating even short periods of meditation into your day.
Even a few minutes can make a difference.
Yeah, just cultivating that inner stillness can have such a profound impact on your sense of peace and clarity.
Totally agree.
And he also emphasizes self-discipline.
But not in a restrictive way.
No, it's not about denying yourself joy. It's about developing the inner strength to face life's challenges with awareness and resilience.
This is about being in the driver's seat of your life.
Yes, and making choices that align with your deepest values.
Absolutely.
And then there's this direct recommendation in the book to actually read Autobiography of a Yogi.
Oh, interesting.
It's presented not just as information, but as a kind of transmission of energy from Yogananda to the reader.
That's fascinating.
There's this idea in many traditions that sacred texts, especially those written by realized beings, carry this special resonance that can impact you on a deeper level.
Beyond just the words themselves.
Exactly. So it's not just about understanding it intellectually. It's about letting it affect you energetically.
Like that.
Wow. This deep dive into Autobiography of Yogi has been something else.
It really has.
The book is like a portal into a different way of seeing reality and our own potential.
It invites us to consider possibilities beyond our normal senses and to embark on this journey of inner exploration.
So for you, the listener, as you reflect on all this, remember that the peace and the understanding and even the extraordinary potential you might be searching for, it's not something outside of you.
It's already there within you.
The practices of meditation, devotion, seeking truth, these can guide you to realizing your highest self.
And to take that even a step further, we encourage you to think about the possibility of influencing your own energy and awareness
Okay.
in ways that might surprise you based on what we've discussed today.
So what's a small step you feel inspired to take?
Yeah, it could be a few minutes of mindful breathing, a deeper reflection on your intentions, or even just opening the pages of Autobiography of a Yogi and seeing what resonates with you.
The path of self-discovery is so personal.
It is.
And the potential for growth is limitless, often extending beyond any specific practices outlined in any one book.
Absolutely. The journey is yours to create.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Autobiography of a Yogi.
It's been a pleasure.
We'll see you next time.
Until then, keep exploring.